Hello, everyone. I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. We're so glad to have you with us today. And we're so glad to have one of our very special guests. I am just so thrilled that Mark Ludwig can be with us again today. He is with the Medina Parks District. And oh my gosh, they have taken on something new that I hope you found. And if not, well, this is going to be your chance to find all about Wild Medina. So, Mark, oh my gosh, it's so great to have you with us.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. I really look forward to interviewing you with the show, or you interviewing me, I should say.
Well, we've been doing it for a long
Yeah,
time
I know.
and it's just so exciting to find that now you have kind of spearheaded a show that is about, on WCTV, a show that's about the Medina Parks District. And I've watched it and it's wonderful. So I want you to tell us all about it.
No, so yeah, thanks to your encouragement, Irma, and then also Joanna Perino at the WCTV. I think the TV show that you host, I think it's been what, like 5 or 6 years that I've been, and it doesn't seem. I mean, it's like, wow, where does time go? but I think even back then, you guys were encouraging me, like, hey, you need to start your own show, and really it was just the time, it's just a lot of programs we did, and just there was just no time for it. I'd always wanted to do it, but and then last year, obviously everything changed for us as naturalists. We like the last interview that I had, I think was back in September, I think, or August. I was talking about just really our jobs for right now have changed. We we used to lead programs for 50, 60 people, maybe sometimes more. And, we really are not leading a whole lot of in-person hikes anymore, or groups, or we're doing, starting back, like really small groups, like 8 or 9 people, and it's registration sign up only, but very, very limited. And so our jobs really have changed, and like a lot of other naturalists throughout the world, probably, to all like mostly virtual. So, so I was starting out with very simple videos, and then it just kind of, and it was like perfect timing, like for this TV show. And I think it's something, unusual for park districts to have, a TV show. And, like I said, thanks to you and Joanna, just for your encouragement that, wow, it actually happened. And I mean, and it's been a learning process. So, and I'll talk about that, but, but it's been fun. I've been really enjoying it. It's, I think, always something I've always wanted to do. Like, I was a kid that grew up on Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and just, and I was like, oh, I need to make movies for a living. And then you find out, like, oh, you're not gonna, there's no way you can ever do that. There's very limited, and it was, but it was always in the back of my mind, like something, to do something like this. And
well, you bring up a very good point, that it's great to be able to want to do something like this, but you also have to have the interest and the enthusiasm, and be willing to go out and find out how to do it. So how did you actually find out how did you learn?
So yeah, it was something that I never went to school for, and what's funny is I was really not the naturalist like my other coworkers. My coworker Natalie, I mean, she takes pictures, videos all the time. She does very well. I never did any of that. Like even my phone picture, I would never like take pictures or video. And then, like I said, it all changed, last year. And then it was just, basically self-taught, just kind of learning. I like our Mac computer that I actually used the iMovie program on. I didn't even know that iMovie existed. Like, I was just like, oh, I need to work on a video and to do something virtual, like to put it on our website so people can watch it, about, all about nature and our parks and stuff. And then I didn't even realize, like, our computer has this, pretty good program, and then it was just a learning process after that. it's really, like the toughest things I can say that have really been difficult for me, but in the future, I think will be easier, is like the audio is like, wow, I never, and I have a whole new respect for like what Joanna and everybody at the station does as far as the editing, production and stuff. It's like, wow, audio, you get some audio back from some of my coworkers that, it sounds like they didn't even have their microphone on to to microphones that are like too loud, or, and it's really just like adjusting all that audio is like a huge part of it too. But
Well, talk a little bit about your hosts. I mean, you've got two wonderful people there
yep,
who are hosting the show, and I
yep,
noticed that they are in the same room, but
yep,
they are socially distanced.
yep.
So I see that you're taking into consideration all the things that we have to in the current
Yep.
situation.
And we're trying to do that, and it's also kind of neat because we were able to put that screen like in the middle, which everybody will see when they watch the clip. But so that actually worked out to our benefit, and we're going to take turns. Like next time, it'll be I'll be one of the anchors, and then my coworker Natalie, and we're going to kind of switch between episodes, and we're planning on 6 this year or so. So we have 5 more to go, and it's like every 2 months, they'll come out. But yeah, we're going to take turns for that host position, or the anchor position, we call it. And it was actually my coworker Clara that came up with the idea of have like as a newscast, because we didn't want to just put the clips together and then it wouldn't make as much sense as as having that host, or to lead us into the other segments and stuff. So it works pretty well. I think it came out, I was pretty happy with it.
I think it works very well with
Yeah.
the interplay between the two anchors, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's really a fun show to watch.
And that's what we wanted to make it. I mean, obviously there's parts that are more serious, like the history part and things like that, which are great, but then we also wanted to add, some humor into it as well. I mean, some of my all-time favorite movies are, like Dumb and Dumber. And so my humor is like way out there. So my boss has to reel me in, like, and say, oh, that's way too much, So we're trying to find that balance.
I know what you're talking about.
And, yeah.
I'm a book person.
Yeah.
So with me, I love the humorous books.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever genre it is, whether it's mystery or romance or historical or what, I like the bits of humor.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about there.
And I grew up on the Three Stooges too. My dad got me into that, and like every Saturday morning as a kid, that's what I love, the Three Stooges. So it was great. So that's where my humor's at. So I gotta, like I said, it's trying to find that the fine line of, but it worked out good. So my boss she wrote the script, Shelley, and I kind of added some parts to it. And it's funny, you'll see my coworker Nicole. She is like a huge Jim Carrey fan. So like even as a kid, she would always try to do like the facial expressions, to match his expressions. So that's why you'll see in a lot of the clips that we kind of focused on like her facial expressions, because she's really good at that. I mean, so but it adds, it adds a good humor to it. So
well, you really have a good team working together.
Yeah.
On it. And I think that makes a big difference in something like this, where you're really bringing in a lot of different people, a lot of different scenes. We go out to the park. We're in your little faux studio there that you've set up. So
and we, like I said, we're working on it's like a learning process. So we are working on purchasing microphones. So that makes a difference too. So we don't have to yell across the room, which I think it came out good, but it's, obviously we're, it's the learning process. So, but it's, we have a good team, and it's really creative people. So, and it's fun.
Well, let's take a look now at the clip you brought along. I really want to see this.
Good day to you, park friends. I'm Shelly.
And I'm Nicole, and we're your armchair adventure guides to what's wild in Medina County.
Red foxes are resourceful creatures. While they prefer small animals like rodents and rabbits, they are omnivores in the truest sense of the word. If they must, they will eat eggs, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fruits, vegetables, worms, and even resort to eating garbage to survive.
Hey, Nicole, did you know that Medina County Park District manages over 7,200 acres?
That's amazing! I bet there's a story for each one.
Well, probably, but we only have time for one today.
Have you ever walked in a park and wondered, I wonder what this was before it was a park? The progression from private land to public park is as unique and diverse as the properties themselves. And here in Medina County, each of our parks has its own unique history. From glacial remnants to generational family farms and even an old amusement park, you'll find these stories both interesting and heartwarming. Come on, let me tell you a story.
In fall, the fields are abuzz with activity. Several species of goldenrod flower are in full bloom. Each plant has hundreds of small flowers that provide nectar and pollen as a food source for many insects. What's this bug? This is an adult locust borer. It is native and endemic to eastern North America. They are large black and yellow beetles about 3/4 to an inch long.
You know, working at Wolf Creek is kind of like a suspense novel. You never know what's going to happen next.
It's great, and it keeps us naturalists on our toes, and on top of our chairs.
Wow, that was really some great photography.
Yeah, I wonder if the mouse said, cheese.
Moving on. What's my job is next?
Is that some kind of game show?
Now sorry, it's not a game show, there'll be no prizes. However, your reward is that you get to meet some of the people, many of them behind the scenes, who make the work of the Park District possible.
Wood ducks can almost always be seen in our wonderful wetlands. The male and females choose a nesting site together. Typically it's a cavity in a tree, or sometimes a nesting box like this one. If they choose a cavity in a tree, it sometimes is directly over the water, but other times it can be over a mile away from water. A fun fact is that this tree cavity can be anywhere from 2 to 60 feet high. How do the young get down once they hatch in the nest? Good question. The mother calls them to her, but does not help in any way. Then they jump out of the nest cavity and bounce like a super ball when they hit the ground.
Kind of a rainy, cloudy day today. Boardwalk is really wet. Be careful you don't slip.
Thanks for the trip down the boardwalk, and for all the great info. Sounds like wetlands really are wonderful.
That's it for today's episode, folks. Join us next time for another armchair adventure in the Medina County Parks. Until then,
Stay wild, Medina.
Oh, Mark, I really enjoyed that. I'll bet that you have some favorite parts of that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my favorite part is, I mean, I liked all the different parts of it. But from most of everybody I've talked to, they said the mouse trap, the video, was probably their favorite parts. And it was just like one of those things, like, let's film. We had this mouse that came into our building, which is typical for especially during the winter. And I was like, oh, I'll just film it. And it was just a bunch of, I mean, there was like probably 30 minutes of footage. And then I was just able to edit it, put it together. The funniest thing is actually when we put the container for the first that you see, and the mouse behind it, we actually did not catch the mouse that time. Claire, had a popsicle stick tied to the string, as you saw, and she pulled it, and the mouse actually ran away. So that was like a different time that we actually caught it with that. So we kind of spliced it all together. I probably shouldn't have told you the secrets of the movie making or whatever, but it worked out really well, where it was pretty funny. And then obviously adding funny music to it was so that's probably like one of my favorite parts, I would think. And I always and then certainly the anchor parts were great too. My boss, Shelley, who is the interpretive services manager, wrote a lot of the anchor script, and then we all kind of like added ideas to it, like I wonder if the mouse said cheese or something like that. Like, and like I was saying, my coworker Nicole, is very good with the facial expression, so we did a lot of like close-ups of her face to her reactions, different things, which was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, we try to have like something for everybody in it. So from if the kids are watching it to adults. There's the history segment, which my mom absolutely loves the most out of anything. I was like, what about the part I did? Like, she's like, oh no, that history segment. I'm like, okay. But, she did a really cool, and I learned a lot too. It was like, I work at, the Wolf Creek Environmental Center, and I didn't really, I know some of the history, but I didn't know that much, so it was kind of neat putting that clip together and learning even more about it.
What do you have coming up? You said you're doing 6 shows.
Yep, 6 shows. So the next one, the next one will be like the first week of March. It'll be out, and we are already working on. It'll be like wildflowers, and we're working on trying to think what else. The mink. My coworker Natalie is doing a video on some really good mink footage that she has. Snow fleas, which are not true fleas, but they're related to insects. And a lot of times when like a warmer day, like today, it's a little bit warmer outside, and I think tomorrow's supposed to be like in the 40s or something, is when these little creatures come out on the snow, and they're really, really tiny. Like I said, related to insects. I forget the group off the top of my head that they're in, but they're also called springtails because they have like a little hook on the barb on the end of their tail that they basically hop like like springs, and pretty cool. So she's doing a segment on that. We have our resource manager actually films a lot of he has trail cameras that he puts out in our parks, and has a lot of footage of different animals. We have one segment I'm putting together called animals like walking over a log, or animals over a log. There's I forget, it might be the Black River or the Rocky River, I forget where it's at. But he put the camera right at the end of the log, and it's amazing the animals that use this log to walk over. I mean, anything from squirrels, of course, to opossum, raccoons, ducks. I mean, there was actually even a mink it's just pretty funny. So I'll add like some funny music to that. And we're trying to think what else there will not be a history segment in this one, but the following one will be a history of Ellerdale Park, which is Shelley is going to put together. So, And then we're just going to add, try to add more humor to it, to which I think it had a good balance of humor, but always, adding more to it. So, but yeah, so working on that right now, just trying to get that filmed and put together. So, and I feel like hopefully the next ones will be a little bit easier for me because, like I said, it's just that learning process. The one thing I talked to you, Irma, about earlier was and Joanna mentioned this to me when I was first putting or started, the TV show. She said, make sure you have everything in 16:9 ratio. And I'm like, okay, and then it just didn't even cross my mind that like some of the vertical pictures you put in there, it's like, what do you do with that? So basically I just kind of ran out of time for the first episode. I was like, oh, it has to be that way. But then I actually went back over the last couple of weeks and kind of redid episode 1, was just making everything that 16:9 ratio. And what it was is, like I was telling you earlier, I was, working on the computer, on a small screen, and then you just think nothing of it. But then I watched it on a TV, a big screen TV, and I was just like, wait a second, that doesn't look exactly right. So, so it's just those little things that, that you learn. And so it's just that learning process.
So coming up, there will always be something different, something interesting.
Yep.
And the scope is just phenomenal. The park systems have so much to offer, and there's no way you could cover everything. So
and that's the thing,
how much you get into each show.
And that's the thing, there is so much to cover. And we also every show is going to have a what's my job segment, because we really feel it's kind of cool to show the public what other departments do. And I mean, obviously everybody's seeing what we're doing right now with with the videos and stuff, but like some other, like for next the episode, we are the resource management department. They're going to interview them, and so they have some pretty fun ideas for that segment. And then of course our park rangers eventually, and other departments to see. Even actually we were even thinking of volunteers as well, obviously pulling them into some of the shows too, to see what they do for volunteering. So it's a segment definitely that will be a part of everyone, just to show everybody what other what we do at the park, other departments and everything. So
it's a wonderful show you've put together, and it's the perfect timing for it, because people right now aren't able to go and enjoy the parks as much as they wanted to. Yes, they can, and you do have winter activities, and you do have upcoming spring activities, but as you said, they're very limited. Is there anything coming up either on your show or that will be available to the public that our viewers should know about?
Yeah, it's like, besides doing the videos in the show, we are basically, a lot of the programs have become, and I was talking about this last time, but we're still doing this. We call it programs on a post. So essentially, there's signs along the trail that are on a wooden stake on a post, and every and they're self-guided programs. So we have maybe 8 to 10 signs out along the trail. So you hike along the trail and you learn about whatever the topic is. So that's been very successful. A lot of people have gotten back to us and said, hey, we really enjoy this. The other thing too is, when we have a program that, it's at a certain time, maybe 3 o'clock on a Sunday or something, and not everybody can make that. But this is actually left up for now. I think it's almost like a month we've decided to leave these programs on a post up for, so people can go whenever the park is open to to self-guided hike, and to learn about whether it's birds or whatever the topic is. So it's working really well. I've actually included in some of the programs I've done QR codes that you can scan with your phone, and then it takes you to a video, of course. And my coworker that has one coming up, it's called the Great Backyard Bird Count. I always say that wrong, but it's running through the 12th of February through, or actually, I'm sorry, it's running through the 6th of February through the 15th of February. but the actual Great Backyard Bird Count is the 12th through the 15th, and anybody can participate. You basically count birds as you see them, and you go to the website to enter this. But her program is, I believe, at River Styx. I forgot to write this down, but you can check our website, medinacountyparks.com, and that'll tell you the program details. But you go out there and you'll learn about birds, but then also a little bit more about this count. But basically they have QR codes that are on some of the signs, and that'll take you to websites like the eBird and many of the other websites that'll tell you more about that. So yeah, a lot of our programs right now are that program on a post still. So
it's wonderful to know that the parks are open, that there are opportunities for people to take advantage of them, and this wonderful opportunity to view the parks from the safety and comfort of our homes through your show. So Mark, thank you so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure to have you. And to everyone out there who's watching the show, it's always a pleasure to have you with us too. So for RSVP, I'm Irma Baker. Have a wonderful day.